The Dow and the S&P have each lost about 2% in the past 2 weeks of selling. The Nasdaq is actually down 4 weeks in a row. Is this week the time your portfolio sees a rebound? Joining us, Jay Jacobs, head of research at Global X Funds. Good to see you, Jay.
Good morning. There
are certainly signs the market is losing momentum. I mean, it's not just the major averages. The small caps are now lower on the year, and the Dow Transports, they're up just 0.5% on the year. So are these signs to you that the market is certainly losing momentum that it had since the election?
Well, we've certainly seen a sell-off in August, but we have to remember it's been a great year for the markets in general. I think the S&P is still up over 8% in 2017. You know, we had 2 great earnings seasons. Q1 and Q2 were both incredible. We've seen really good growth globally. We're seeing a declining dollar, which has been great for growth as well. So I think this is a very near-term effect. I would not expect this to continue for much longer. You know, maybe in Q4 we see a little bit of a rally as well.
It was a wild week last week at the White House. That was an understatement. And do you expect any Fed bombshells this week? Later on, we hear from Janet Yellen. We hear from the ECB president, Mario Draghi, at the annual Jackson Hole Symposium.
It's possible they could give some sort of policy signal, but because we've seen volatility in this last week and we're anticipating a little bit more volatility in September with NAFTA negotiations and debt ceiling talks, I don't think Yellen is going to come out and give any sort of really aggressive policy indication. She's trying to balance, you know, having, you know, a lot of confidence in the global financial markets while achieving, you know, a moderate level of inflation and growth. And I think she's really going to try to, you know, use this opportunity to give some general statements about the economy, but really not rock the boat.
So we expect the more dovish tone to continue, I suppose. So Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin, he's going to speak later today on tax reform. Do you still believe the Trump agenda is back on track?
So if you specifically look at how the market is pricing certain things right now, it's just not giving a lot of credit to Trump for achieving his economic agenda. The way that we view tax reform is really it's all kind of an upside possibility here. The markets are not expecting it to happen, but if it does, that could be great for stocks, specifically things in very high tax bracket segments such as consumer discretionary. But the markets just don't really price it in right now as something that's going to happen.
So you're saying the S&P, the broader market, up over 8% this year. That's with tax reform not priced in. So should we get it, let's say we're surprised that we do have tax reform, a tax overhaul, then where does the market go?
Well, you know, that's immediately accretive to earnings. I mean, essentially, you're giving a tax cut to companies. If there's tax reform, you're going to see repatriation of money towards the U.S. So I think these very high, kind of expensive sectors are going to see a good rally if we see tax reform.
Yeah, and maybe investors will come in and buy the dip today, as they have all year. Jay Jacobs, good to see you.
Thank you.